Give a man a fish and you feed him for a day.
But teach a man to ride a motorcycle and he'll ride 100 miles to eat fish and chips. And so that's exactly what I thought I'd do to bring you this review of the Tiger 1200. And as you can see, this is not one of those press reviews in a nice sunny location. I'm riding this Tiger 1200 where it's probably going to be ridden for most of the time, but I'm on my way to the coast to get myself some fish and chips. There's been a lot of changes to this bike, one of which is the loss of the Explorer name. Triumph have decided to ditch that, so your two options now are the Tiger 800 and the Tiger 1200, and you've still got the same model numbers, the XR for the road version and the XC for the off-road version, and this is the 1200 XCA. This XCA has got all the bells and whistles on it that you would expect, and that's why this bike I'm riding on, the list price is £17,100. That's a lot of money. Is it worth it? So what exactly do you get for your £17,000? Well, quite a lot. This bike is packed to the gunnels with stuff. You get that beautiful, smooth, creamy 1215cc triple motor, and that puts out 139 brake horsepower with 122 newton meters of torque, so there's no problems in terms of power, and the power delivery is very, very nice. WP adjustable suspension, and it's electronically adjusted, so it will be adjusted the firmness for each of the riding modes, but you've got a toggle down here where you can adjust those independently as well, so if you want to make it harder or softer in any particular mode, you can do that as well. They've continued with the shaft drive from the Explorer, but there has been over 100 changes to this bike, and a lot of those changes mean that it's reduced in weight quite a lot, and they've shaved 11 kilos off of the weight of this bike, which is quite a bit to move off. It still weighs, however, 242 kilos dry, with a 20 litre tank, so if you add another 20 litres onto that, you're looking at 262 kilos. That's before you get any luggage or anything on it, so it's not a light bike, but it is a very nimble feeling bike. The XCA model doesn't have the 21-inch wheel that the 800 has. It has a 19-inch wheel on some beautifully laced tubeless spoked wheels as well. This bike is fitted with the Arrow exhaust, so if you can hear the exhaust noise, that's the experience you get, and it's not the stock can on it. When you jump on this bike, you just want to go and ride all day. It's extremely comfortable, and the weight isn't an issue once you're rolling. That weight only becomes an issue when you're manhandling the bike about, or if you have to pick it up when you drop it. Nice tool screen, gives good coverage, but this is electronically adjustable. You just select that on your menu by toggling left and right on here, and then once you've got the screen height adjust, you just move that up and down with that. So that's quite nice if you're particularly lazy. For me, that's just adding weight and expense to the bike, and it's something else to go wrong. But the Tiger 800 one that you can grab and pull is fine. It's a nice to have, obviously, but I can't help thinking how much cheaper and lighter the bike could have been just by removing that mechanism. Wait, there's some pigs. I'm now craving a bacon sandwich. So yeah, one thing this bike has got as well is a quick shifter, which is silky smooth, really dreamy. There's one thing I'm going to miss when this bike goes back, and it's one thing I quite like on my 800. And it's got a really nice auto blip on the way down. So yeah, as I was saying, smooth, creamy power right through the range. So you can do, I'm doing 60 miles an hour here in 5th gear, 3,700, 3,800 revs, something like that. And if the road will allow me, I don't know how much, yeah, it's a bit difficult to overtake here, but we've got a gap here. So again, and the pickup from there, 5th gear, plenty and plenty of power for you. It really is a very comfortable effortless bike to ride, and for long distances I can imagine this is an absolute beaut. And I think it would, for me, score over the 800 if you were touring 2-up with a full load of luggage. I think this would just be a little bit more comfortable than that 800. Having said that, it's a hell of a lot more expensive. Yes, I just want to thank the guys at Triumph for letting me have this bike for a couple of weeks to really get to grips with it. But this is Aldborough, and it's a lovely place. I come up here quite a lot, and with the family. Every time I come here, I'll go to a specific fish and chip shop, which is where I'm going to go and grab some lunch now. And obviously we're not far from Southwold, which is the home of Adnams beer, and there is an Adnams store here, so if I'm not driving or riding, I'll tend to have a fish and chips and a beautiful pint of Adnams. But today I'm just going to make do with the fish and chips. It's the old Moot Hall, which is one of the oldest, well, it is the oldest building in Aldborough. It's one of the oldest buildings in this area. And if you've never been up this part of the world, I would suggest you do so. It is a lovely place. In the summer it can be a little bit like Chelsea-on-Sea, maybe not as much as the town up the road, but it's a beautiful place to come, walk, grab an ice cream, get some fish and chips, get some sea air, and just generally check out this lovely little old town. You're not really seeing it in its best light today, but it's a pleasure to come to Aldborough, whatever the weather. There's the Golden Galleon. There's one fish and chip shop, but that's not the one that we go to, because the one I'm heading to, which you might be able to see in the distance with the blue shop front, they use dripping to cook their chips in, so the chips are absolutely fantastic. There's normally a big queue. I can't imagine there's going to be a queue here today, but I'll see if I can find somewhere to pull over and grab myself some lunch.
Okay, can I get a scampi and chips then, please? Thank you. Lovely, cheers. See you later. Fish and chips by the sea. Perfect.
Okay, so let's give you a little tour. Lots of diversions here today, lots of roadworks, but let's find somewhere quiet to give you a look around the bike. We'll head down to the harbour area, because there's a car park down here, and there might be somewhere nice and quiet that I can pull over and just show you around the bike very quickly. Okay, the weather's improved a little bit. I've set a much windier route back home. I'm just going to go at the end here and have an explore. As you can see, standing on this bike is a breeze. The handlebar risers and the sweep back of those bars make this really comfortable, and you can just push your knees into the tank there, that shaped tank. Well designed for standing, very comfortable. You could do this for hours on end, I reckon. Combine that with the adventure foot pegs and you've got a very stable platform. Now I suppose the question is, would I buy this bike? And the short answer to that is no, I wouldn't, for a number of reasons, and that's not to say I've not enjoyed it. I have really enjoyed having this bike for the last few weeks, and it will be a shame, and I will actually miss this when it goes back, because it's been supremely comfortable, very nimble, whether you're hitting the motorways, the A roads or the country lanes. It's been an absolute joy to ride. But for the cost over and above what I spent on my Tiger 800, no, for me it's just a little bit too big. It's not really, it's too much for what I need. I think that's the problem. And if I was doing a hell of a lot of touring, as I say, 2 uploads of luggage across Europe for many months, this would be perfect. For me, it's not that, and so the Tiger 800 is more than enough. But make no mistake, this is a fantastic motorcycle, and I think a massive improvement on the previous 1200 Explorer. Oh, pigeon, that was close.